first two are the most common. If your injector is clicking but not drawing the concentrate, it could be as simple as the strainer is plugged with debris or the suction hose is not securely attached and is allowing air to be drawn in. Take a look at the strainer. If it's clogged, clean it out and retest your Dosatron. If there is still no suction, turn the water on. If the unit is clicking, unscrew and remove the suction hose nut and hose and check to see if you feel suction on your finger. If you feel suction, just cut a ½ inch off the top of the hose and reattach. You should see the liquid begin moving up the suction tube. If you don't see liquid moving up the tube or you don't feel suction on your finger, turn the water off. Press the air bleed button on the lid a couple times to release the pressure. Using the strap wrench, loosen the lid. Unscrew to remove and set it aside. Grasp the white valve support and pull the piston straight out of the body. Set the body aside and take a close look at the plunger seal for nicks, scratches, or wear. If you see damage or don't remember the last time you changed the seal, you may want to replace it now. To change the seal, pinch and roll it off of the plunger. Install the new seal into the groove. Carefully insert the piston into the body and replace the lid hand tight. Tighten the hose onto the barb. Slowly turn the water on and your injector should now be drawing concentrate. If your injector is pushing water down into the concentrate container, it's time to investigate the check valve. To do this, remove the hose nut and hose and set them aside. Unscrew the barb and remove the check valve assembly. Inspect the seal and check valve assembly. If they are dirty, you may be able to soak, brush off, and reinstall. If you see damage or don't remember the last time you changed these parts, they need to be replaced. Insert the seal into the cap with the groove facing upward. To reassemble, press the new check valve assembly into the stem as far as it will go. Thread the cap onto the white stem and hand tighten. Thread the suction hose nut onto the hose, slide it onto the barb and hand tighten the nut. This should stop the water from dripping back into the concentrate container. If the unit isn't clicking, we need to examine the piston. First, unscrew and remove the hose nut. Remove the hose. In order to remove the lid, use the strap wrench to loosen it. Unscrew the lid and set it aside. Grasp the white valve support and pull the piston straight out of the body. Inspect the white valve support on the top for breakage or damage. With the push rod up, check for wear and scratches in this area. Now press the push rod down and check the 2 actuator springs on the bottom. If the parts are broken, damaged, worn, or scratched, they need to be replaced. If either of the springs is broken, it is recommended to change them both. You can visually inspect the upper and lower flanges on the piston shell. If they are worn or have deep scratches, the piston shell needs to be replaced. Also, check the piston shell's fit inside the body. To do this, invert the piston and slide it into the body. It should be a snug fit. If it feels loose, the piston shell and pushrod O-ring need to be replaced. To replace the piston shell, use a small tip Phillips head screwdriver and remove the valve support screw and plastic retainer. Press the pushrod up and slide the white valve support off of the inlet valve and set aside. Next, remove the 4 screws in the center of the piston shell to release the actuator assembly. Pull the actuator assembly out and discard the old piston shell. Place the new pushrod O-ring on the top of the pushrod and press it down as far as it will go. Then position the actuator assembly in the shell as shown and hold firmly. Now reinstall the 4 screws and hand tighten them in a star pattern. Press the white plastic portion of the actuator from side to side. If there is movement, retighten the screws. Reinstall the valve support by sliding it onto the inlet valve. Next, position the retainer and hand tighten the screw. Test the piston by pressing the pushrod from the top and bottom. It should click each time. Insert the piston back into the blue body and hand tighten the lid. Reattach the hose and hand tighten the hose nut. Your injector should now be clicking and drawing concentrate.